And we welcome you into the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show ahead of a monster matchup this Saturday at noon from Beaver Stadium as 13th-ranked Penn State hosts 2nd-ranked Ohio State. Brian Tripp live from the Lasch Building tonight. Thrilled to be with you again for our Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. Coming up, head coach James Franklin with his weekly media availability. The game coming up on Saturday at noon is going to be on Fox, Penn State, and Ohio State. It's the annual Stripe Out game. Should be a great matchup as Penn State and Ohio State battle. The Nittany Lions are 6-1, Ohio State 7-0. And fans, if you're coming to the game, make sure you know what color to wear on Saturday. If your section's blue, white students, you're all wearing white. Should be a great scene. We had the great visuals with the whiteout game. The stripe out game is always the same as well. Here's head coach James Franklin.
What would the return of Chuck Robinson do for your defense this Saturday? Is that your expectation?
Yeah, still early in the week, but he was able to practice today. Obviously, you guys know he's been an explosive playmaker for us on the defensive side of the ball. You know, obviously against this unit, their ability to throw the ball, being able to get pressure on the quarterback and make him uncomfortable in the pocket, that would be valuable. He's also been disruptive against the run, so we're hopeful to have him.
James, when you brought Bryce in to the game, was that just to get him snaps? Was Sal banged up? I know you don't talk about injuries. And what does it speak to the value that he can play both of those positions or all of those positions?
Yeah, no, I think you guys or somebody asked me last week, whether it was in the press conference or in this after practice, we kind of view him as a starter,
right,
and we feel like he has the ability to play both tackle and guard reps. So we want to make sure, after the game's over that he's got those types of reps because he's playing well and he's earned the right to be on the field. So it allows those guys to get a break, but it also allows him to get on the field and play well. And right now he's being able to handle both tackle and guard. I wasn't sure about that before the season started, if he'd be able to handle both positions, but he has. So that's been good. Obviously during the game, games in general, there's things that come up that could factor in that as well, but that was part of the plan anyway.
James, Ohio State is converting 100% of their red zone opportunities. What makes them so difficult to stop, and how do you guys try to stop them once they kind of get deep into your own territory?
Yeah, they got a good scheme. They got a bunch of weapons. They've done a really good job. There's no doubt about it. But I think, like we've talked about in the past, when you talk about red zone offense, when you're able to run or throw the ball, that's valuable down there. Being able to run the ball, people are going to play specific red zone coverages, and the quarterback, makes big time accurate throws. I mean, he makes some throws on whether they're fade balls or seam balls or corners or whatever it may be, that it's a small window that he's able to thread the ball into, not only with arm talent in terms of strength, but also accuracy. So combination of really good receivers and a nice scheme and quarterback that's been very accurate in those situations.
How do you go about making hard choices? Because certain teams present situations where you have to decide if you're going to defend one thing or the other, without going into what you decided for this week. What are the things that go into deciding what you're going to focus on trying to take away?
Yeah, I think like anything, right? It's based on your personnel and schemes and their personnel schemes. What's going to give you the best opportunity to be successful against that opponent? And obviously you rep those things during the week. We have scout teams and what we call D-squad teams that are talented enough to give us pretty realistic looks, and sometimes a couple of ideas you throw out, after Tuesday and Wednesday. You don't feel good about it once you get out here, because at the end of the day, you need just enough in the offense and defensive game plan and special teams, but more offense and defense, that's going to keep them honest and on their toes, but not too much that you can't execute it, so that's kind of the fine line of all of this.
James, you alluded to this yesterday with Higgins. How tough is it when you recruit a kid, get to know him, and then he ends up on the other sideline, especially a kid like Fleming, who's pretty close by?
You said Higgins.
But I said Higgins because you started your press conference by saying so-and-so, we know him, and we recruited him, but then you didn't say Fleming, but he fits that category.
Yeah, so what are you asking again? I'm sorry?
How tough is it when you recruit a kid, you get to know him, you don't get him, but then he's across the field when he picks another school.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. In this league, it happens all the time, especially when you're talking about regional prospects. It happens all the time. Obviously, I think your point is, it obviously, stings a little bit more when you see them. If they go far away and you never play those people, it's a little bit out of sight, out of mind, which is also our argument on why they should stay home. There's been a number of prospects that have left and gone, far away, and a lot of times you never hear a whole lot about them after that. So I think your point is, obviously, if you lose a guy and now you have to play against him for 4 years, it's probably more impactful. I don't know if it necessarily is, but it feels that way because you obviously see them. Could someone get Mark a Halls, please? Yeah, perfect timing this week.
James, the secondary faced this robust test down at Purdue. They're getting a Ohio State receiving corps that's got a lot of options and weapons. What's the challenge when scheming for something, that much variety?
Yeah, I think your point is, Purdue's been doing it all year as well. Coach Brom's done a great job. I do think that is a test, that I think we did a pretty good job with. But, obviously we're talking about, another scheme, with talented coaches, but also really, really talented players. And there was some guys at Purdue we were concerned about. I think everybody would agree there's probably more guys, at Ohio State that people are aware of and concerned of before coming into this game. So, I think that's the challenge, right, is when you got somebody on the right side of the field that's a problem, and somebody's on the left side of the field that's a problem, and somebody that's in the slot that's a problem, and then somebody in the backfield that's a problem. It makes it difficult because it's not like you can say, okay, we're going to take away the slot, or we're going to take away the tight end, or we're going to load the box because we like to match up at, outside with the receivers, kind of like last week, like we talked about. So that's when people are really difficult to defend, when they got multiple guys in multiple spots, that are proven and can hurt you. Luckily, we feel good about, our back end and have worked very hard at developing that group and recruiting that group. And those guys have been tested, but they're going to be tested again on Saturday. And obviously, if we can make the quarterback hold the ball and get off his first progression and get some pressure on him, that would be helpful too. It just hasn't been a whole lot of people that have been able to do that up to this point.
I thought Central Michigan, to take you back beyond weeks you're even thinking about anymore, had success against you guys doing some weird things that kind of fell outside of their character maybe.
Yep.
Obviously, maybe this weekend you don't feel like the disparity is quite like that, but when you are maybe not going to have the luxury of dictating terms the same way that you might every week, how do you balance your identity with, here are some things we're going to have to do that maybe fall outside of it to try and have opportunities to make some plays?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. You're going to have to do some things this week on offense, defense, and special teams that are going to give Ohio State pause to say, well, what are they doing here? This isn't what we expected. And whether that is a different formation to run the same play, whether that is a different motion to run a play, whether that's a different personnel group to run a play, or whether that's a different scheme, a totally different scheme that you're running this week that you haven't shown out of a similar formation or personnel group. That's defensively, different front package, a different blitz package. You're definitely going to try to do some things that give them pause as a coaching staff and give them hesitation as players. Hopefully the quarterback, you can do some things that pre-snap, he's not as confident of what you're going to do post-snap. That's when people talk all the time about quarterbacks, but it's really at every position, right? When does the game slow down for them? When they're able to anticipate, when they got a pretty good idea pre-snap what you're going to do post-snap. That's the same thing with Tig at safety, having a pretty good idea pre-snap of what they're probably going to run out of this formation in this field zone.
James, is there anything that you wanted to say at this point about the Big Ten schedule next year? I know it's something you addressed at Media Day, but it actually came out and you're on the road again, or is that something you'd prefer to talk about later?
Yeah, I'd prefer to talk about it later. Pat's already addressed it. I could bring it up and then do another dramatic pause for a couple seconds and go from there.
James, piggybacking off what Matt asked, when you self-scout throughout the week heading into a big matchup like this, how much do you sort of game plan doing your own tendency breakers, right? Like if you do something 80% of the time, you're like, okay, this is the time that we're going to break that tendency because of the matchup.
Yeah, I think you really have to do that every week. But if you haven't really made significant changes every other week, you're going to have to do it definitely every other week. And then I think the other thing is, you've spent some time on some of these people in the summer and have come up with a few ideas, over the summer as well. Those things could pop up for you. But yeah, I think, it's a fine line, right? Because the other thing is you have tendencies because you're good at something. So, the most important thing is you need to be aware of what your tendencies are on offense, defense, and special teams, and either be comfortable with what they are or what can we do to complement it. We ran this play in this field zone out of this personnel group. What is the complementary play? What is the complementary coverage? What is the complementary blitz to show one thing and then be able to bring another? Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Head coach James Franklin addressing the media over inside Haluba Hall tonight as we're back here at the Lasch Building before what is a tremendous matchup, a great team coming in here in Ohio State, which means a great opportunity for Penn State coming up this weekend, Saturday at noon at Beaver Stadium. Let's take a look at those key players for the matchup, and we'll start with the Nittany Lions. And man, the tight ends had a big game last week. Theo Johnson, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown against the Golden Gophers. Tyler Warren, a 38-yard touchdown, barreling into the end zone there. It's been a great year for this trio. Combined 29 receptions, 6 touchdowns this year. Brenton Strange, third on the team, 17 catches, 245 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Tied for the team lead. Look at that great shot in the whiteout. Theo Johnson into the end zone. Curtis Jacobs, sophomore linebacker, coming off a career best and team-leading 14 tackles against the Gophers. Had the pick 6 2 weeks ago against Michigan. Converted safety, helped the Penn State defense hold the Minnesota run game in their top back, Mo Ibrahim, to 3.4 yards per carry. Ohio State, 2 very talented backs coming in as well this weekend, Williams and Henderson, and Jacobs doing it on both sides of the line of scrimmage and doing it from multiple positions at that linebacker spot. Joey Porter Jr. in the Penn State secondary going against their hardest test of the year. Even better than that, Purdue offense. Porter has been so good. Penn State secondary held Minnesota to under 50% completions. It's the 3rd time Penn State's done it this year. As you can see, Ohio State, though, with some really good wide receivers. Emeka Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. lead the supporting cast for quarterback C.J. Stroud. Stroud this year, 70% completion percentage, 2,034 yards passing, 28 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He leads the nation in touchdown passes. The great wide receiver duo right there. And then Ohio State really good as well on defense with Tommy Eichenberg, the linebacker, leading the team with 57 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. What is a really good Buckeye defense as well. So those are our key players to watch going into this week's matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. We're just talking about some of the key players for Penn State, and we highlighted the tight ends. And Theo, you had a tremendous game on Saturday against Minnesota. Congratulations, finding the end zone. How did it feel as the tight ends really helped the passing game get going?
It feels really good just because I feel like we've always had a lot of value to add to the team. And on that type of stage, it just felt really good to be able to help the offense win a game like that.
What was it like scoring a touchdown in that environment with the crowd going crazy?
It was a surreal moment. I just looked up and I just immediately just felt blessed to, just to have that opportunity on that stage. It was a great feeling.
Now, we talk about your tight ends, and obviously the passing game, the numbers, that's what really finds people in the box score. They can notice that. But I know the run blocking and pass protection is also a key part of the game, especially because your tight ends coach is an offensive line letterman from Penn State. How much pride do you take in those elements as well?
I think since I was a freshman and I came in, my coach told me, the way you're going to get on the field is to be a great run blocker. So I kind of bought in on that as soon as I walked in the door, and it hasn't changed ever since. And, Ty really focuses on that and make sure that we're bought into that. And I think we all do a really great job of being elite players at all 3 phases, run blocking, pass blocking, and route running.
Let's take it the next part, too. You had 4 different players catch a touchdown pass. You have great distribution from Sean, getting the tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs involved. and the running game. When the offense is balanced like that in all facets, how effective can you be offensively?
It's kind of scary because, when we can all complement each other and kind of feed off of each other, it's hard to stop because, you key one guy and we're running the ball and then you're passing it to different guys. It's really scary because we have so many threats from so many different areas of the field that, kind of just showed part of the ceiling that our offense can reach.
Taking a look at some of the highlights here, that environment was so important. How important can the crowd be again this Saturday?
Huge. I think it's going to be huge. You've seen all the offside penalties that we had this week. The penalties really add up, and it's really a huge help for us. And I think that, again, the fans out there early, 12 o'clock kick is going to be huge for us this week.
We've had the opportunity to learn a lot about you and your family here over the last couple of months. You have 5 brothers. What was that like growing up in the household?
It wasn't always easy. It was kind of, we're always on top of each other, never really had a lot of space to yourself. But I think looking back at it, I'm very grateful for that experience. I'm really close with all my family now, and I think it's made me the person that I am today.
Who's the first person to text you after the games?
It's usually always my mom, but, she was there this week, so she was the first person I seen. My brother Dom usually texts me or calls me as soon as I get to the locker room. So it's usually my family members are always kind of pouring into me after games, especially games like this week.
Back home in Canada, how many people are now Nittany Lion fans?
It's a whole bunch of them. There's a lot of people back at home that are texting me saying, hey, I just got your jersey and, just watched the game, great game and stuff like that. And it feels good to know that I have that support system back home in Windsor.
So have they put away the ice skates now and started to pick up a football to throw around?
In my city, it's always kind of been a little bit of a football town, but I think, the skates are coming out now. It's getting a little bit more into winter, but, for football season, they're big fans.
What's special about the little Canadian pipeline that you have going on here at Penn State?
I think it's big because I think that, Canada is a little bit of an untapped resource when it comes to football players. A lot of teams don't necessarily recruit in Canada. A lot of kids are kind of forced to come down to prep schools and stuff like that. So I think that, it's good to have our coaches, paying a little bit more attention to Canadian athletes because I think that, like I said, it's an untapped resource, and there's a lot of talent up there that's just not being discovered.
Let's shift gears back to Ohio State here. Not giving anything away, X's and O's, but what are some of the things that are being emphasized this week as you go into the matchup with the Buckeyes?
I think it's just not beating ourselves is one of the big things. They have a great defense and a great offense, and, just doing your job and not trying to do too much. Because, when you try and do too much, that's when you kind of run into some issues. So the big thing was kind of being preached to us is just doing your job and just not letting the little mistakes add up and not beating ourselves.
And the last one, I know third downs are so important. How important, though, are first and second downs as well to make sure that third down situation is manageable so you can have that same success rate that you had against Minnesota?
Yeah. First downs are huge. You want to have a good first down, and then second down, you're looking to get half of whatever is left, and then that'll kind of set you up for third down. So if you can kind of stay on that track and that trajectory each down, it sets up a good third down and you're in good territory. But if you don't do too well on first down, then it kind of makes second and third down a little tough. So our goal is really to do well on first down, get half on second, and then have a manageable third down situation.
I lied. There's one more question for you. What does it mean having the experience and maturity of Sean back there as your quarterback in a game, especially like this coming up on Saturday?
It's huge. All of our guys on offense really respect him. Have a lot of admiration for his leadership and just his grit. He's always going to find a way, whether he's hurting or what. He just never gives up. He's always a fighter. So I think everybody on our team, especially offense, rallies around him and really respects the type of person and the player he is.
He's one tough guy back there.
Yeah,
Theo, have a great game this week. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. Penn State and Ohio State coming up on Saturday at noon at Beaver Stadium. Nittany Lions ranked 13th in the country, taking on the second-ranked Buckeyes. A tremendous matchup, a tremendous opportunity. We see all those comments. John, Kim, Justin, we appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Let us know where you're watching from, whether you're watching from right here in State College, Scranton, wherever it may be. We appreciate you tuning in to the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. Should be a great game. Remember, it's the stripe out game, so fans, take a look at your ticket, identify your section, and then look at a map. Look at this map right here on your screen. See, are you wearing blue or white? Students, it's easy. You're just wearing white. This is one of the great visuals in college sports, the stripe out game in what is going to be a busy game day, but also a busy game week as we kick it off on this Wednesday with the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. Here is our game week schedule. Coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock on the radio side, it's the Penn State Coaches Show featuring James Franklin. Women's soccer head coach Erica Dombach will be the special guest as well at the Field Burger and Tap in State College. If you're coming into town early, head out there and check that out. Also, if you're coming into town early on Saturday, Fox Big Noon Kickoff will take place outside the BJC at Gate B. It's the first ever appearance of Fox Big Noon Kickoff at Beaver Stadium and here in Happy Valley. The parking lots, by the way, are opening at 6 o'clock on Saturday. 6 a.m., the gates open early. Come on in, be in your seats, make a lot of noise. You just heard from Theo how you can impact that game. Let's take a look. Fox Big Noon Kickoff coming up for the first time here on Saturday. Bring your school spirit at 9 a.m., and then the show goes live at 10 a.m. Penn State hosting Ohio State at Beaver Stadium. And folks, look, there's even some free giveaways, free Wendy's, some swag, celebrity guests. There's the big-time crew that Fox will have out there outside the BJC, outside Gate B on Saturday. So we previewed the offensive side of the football. We shift gears to the defensive side of the football with Nick Tarburton. One of the questions I just asked Theo was why the team was so effective on third down offensively. How important was that against Minnesota defensively as well?
Yeah, I think it was huge. I think coming in, I think they were first in the country converting in third down. And obviously, holding them, I think we held them to about 22% overall, which is, unbelievable. It's a credit to us, but again, it's a credit to, all the fans in that whiteout. It was a surreal experience.
Oh, how would you describe that experience? Playing in front of all those fans, making that noise, the 5 false start penalties that put the offense behind the sticks, which is so important against a running team like that too.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was surreal. That's the word for it. Every game is surreal to me, but I mean, especially the whiteout. It was an amazing atmosphere, and it was something that I'll always remember.
Ohio State, conversely, is a little bit more of an explosive team. They're averaging nearly 8 yards per game. Without giving anything away in the X's and O's, what are some of the things you emphasize as a defense as you prepare this week?
Yeah, the biggest thing, is kind of just trusting each other, our belief, and, just doing your job. If everybody does their job, that's going to take care of itself, and, we'll like where we're at.
What do you like about your defense, and how does that performance against the Gophers as a bounce back help you grow and lay a foundation going into this week?
Yeah, we're a bunch of guys that just, love each other, love getting to play with each other each and every day, and just love taking that field together. And, we're a team that's just going to play for each other, just work as hard as we possibly can, and, like I said, just do our job.
Well, we talk about the football aspect of it. Let's get to know you a little bit away from football. I hear you're a big outdoorsman. What's your favorite activity?
Yeah, anything hunting and fishing is definitely my kind of speed. Love all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you go out hunting here in State College, fishing in State College?
Oh yeah. Do it all: hunting, fishing, deer hunting, dove hunting. Trout fishing, bass fishing, doing it all. Yeah.
What's the biggest trophy you have, whether it's fishing or hunting?
Yeah, actually last year in the off season, I was able to actually shoot I shot a nice 8-point buck on rifle season, so it was cool.
Do you do fly fishing or?
I haven't really yet. I've kind of dabbled a little bit.
There's a class here, fly fishing class.
I need to take it. Yeah, before my time's up. But it's awesome out here.
How'd you get into the outdoors? Where'd that start?
Yeah, kind of as a family, man. Since I could walk, I was out in the woods. Something my family's always done. My dad, my grandparents, everybody. That's kind of just how we are.
And you're a very tight-knit family. I know that as well. Who's the first person? I just asked Theo the same question, so it's always interesting to hear this answer, and I may get you in trouble with this answer. Yeah. Who's the first person to text you after a game if they're not there at the stadium?
It's definitely my mom, without a doubt. Yeah, no, she's always dialed in, always making sure I'm doing all right. She's always there for me. It's cool.
Is it surreal for your family when you have an experience like the Ohio State game or Minnesota and the whiteout? Do they take a step back? Do you ever take a step back and soak in an atmosphere like that and realize what a great opportunity you have here at Penn State?
Yeah, I try to do that, every day. It's just, I'm so blessed to be where I am, to be here, and to, play in the big games like this every week. It's something you dream of as a kid. It's something I've dreamed of as a kid, and, be able to live it out and to really just kind of see all that going on. It's special. It's something I try to, hold on to.
Obviously, we're looking back at some highlights here. The defense has been great at creating turnovers all season long. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you emphasize defensively to make sure you can come up with those big plays that can really change a game with the takeaways?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, obviously the biggest thing, like I keep saying, is just, us doing our job. Coach Diaz's defense, it's meant to be, aggressive, mm-hmm. Cause a lot of havoc, this and that. But obviously just like doing your job, understanding what you're getting, how you can defeat blocks, and when the plays are there, you got to make them.
I've seen you as a motivator out there in the huddle. I've seen some of your leadership skills. I'm going to step out of the way. I'm going to give you a chance to give a message to the fans, the impact they can have coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, you guys can do just about anything, man. Show up, show out, give everything you got. We're going to give everything we got. So you all do the same, and we're going to like what we got.
Nick, really appreciate it. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Nick Tarburton joining us here on the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show ahead of Penn State and Ohio State at Beaver Stadium. It's the Stripe-Out game coming up on Saturday. When our players are out there on the field, they're often on those DeWalt benches. We appreciate DeWalt for being the proud bench partner of Penn State athletics and for keeping our players game ready while on the sideline. Thank you so much, DeWalt. And while our players are here at Penn State, they're on those DeWalt benches, but our players all hope and dream about getting to the NFL. It was another great week for Nittany Lions in the NFL. Let's check out the latest highlights. Another big Sunday for New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley. He had 135 total yards, including 110 on the ground, and is the NFL's second leading rusher through week number 7. Tight end Pat Freiermuth caught a career-high 8 passes for 75 yards for the Steelers, who visit the undefeated Eagles this Sunday. Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons ranked second in the NFL in sacks and third in tackles for loss. He had 5 tackles in this game-ending sack in Dallas's win over Detroit. Finally, Bears rookie safety Jaquan Brisker made this spectacular catch for his first career interception on Monday night. Welcome back inside Lasch Building. We heard from head coach James Franklin earlier with his weekly media availability, also tight end Theo Johnson and defensive lineman Nick Tarburton. And now we're joined here by Destiny Sanchez, a member of our student talent team at Penn State. And we focus so much, Destiny, and rightfully so. It's been a great year on the field so far, but this team is so heavily involved in the community as well. And I thought one of the great events last Thursday as LifeLink came out here to the Lasch Building and had a great opportunity to interact with the Penn State players.
Yeah, you said it. It was great. I got a chance to come to practice last week and with the LifeLink students, and it was a great day. Check it out.
LifeLink has had a strong relationship to Penn State football for many years. The program's mission is to serve special education students, engage them in academic programs, and help them gain independence. LifeLink students and mentors were able to visit a Penn State football practice to meet the players and carve some pumpkins. They received a tour of Lasch and then lined up for signatures from the players they look up to the most.
A big part of LifeLink is independence, and we're trying to essentially get them confident enough to have jobs. With that, seeing football players in their element, that is very inspiring. It's just a good way for them to see different careers. It's very inspiring for them to see the different roles because they can work on the sideline, they can work as interns, so there's a lot of opportunities here.
This really means so much to the students. They looked forward to this for months. It really means a lot that they take a time out of their busy schedules to come hang out with us.
The LifeLink students left with festive pumpkins, a sign poster, and smiles on their faces.
Destiny, it looked like a great day for everyone. I know the players, the LifeLinks, everyone had so much fun here at the Lasch Building.
Yeah, it definitely felt good to be there. Brooke told me that Penn State football is a big topic of conversation every day at LifeLink, so it was great for the players to give back to those that look up to them the most.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming out and covering that. Great work as always, Destiny.
Thank you.
It's been a busy week here on campus, and obviously LifeLink last week, but the Penn State All Sports Museum and Saab last night hosting Trick or Treat Night. And man, there were some awesome costumes last night as we get a chance to check that out. All the teams were out there represented and youngsters from across the area here in Happy Valley. There's Carson Dick from the men's hockey team handing out some candy. Penn State baseball team, they're dressed up too. Spider-Man's got a little bit of a treat going home. The Penn State men's lacrosse team dealing out some candy. And man, what a great night. It's the annual Saab and All Sports Museum Trick or Treat Night. Even the Nittany Lions dressed up as a taco. What a great costume there. But it was a great night last night. And as I said, it's a busy week. We had LifeLink here last week that Destiny covered. We had Trick or Treat last night at the All Sports Museum. And by the way, basketball season is just 12 days away. 12 days from the home opener against Winthrop coming up on November 7th. And tonight is the annual Shrews Slamma-Jamma out at the East Halls Court. And Zach Gershman is out there tonight. And Zach, I can tell that place is rocking as the men's basketball team is being introduced right now.
If everyone was wearing white, I would compare this to the Penn State whiteout. The community here, we keep talking about. That's been the common theme through LifeLink, through giving back at the trick-or-treat event. And now here at the Shrews Slamma Jamma, Coach Shrewsbury's talked about giving back to the community and connecting with the Penn State student body, and that's exactly what they're doing here at East Halls as they're getting ready to have a game of knockout, the skills competition, and you hear them already chanting for Coach Shrewsbury.
Yeah, everyone loves Coach Shrewsbury. That team is destined to have a great year this year. They're the Big Ten's top defense last year. He told me yesterday on our Media Day live stream that they expect to be improved offensively this year. And Zach, the environment out there is awesome. There's free pizza. What else is planned there tonight? What's going on at Shrews Slamma Jamma?
Well, right now the team's about to walk on into the court, get introduced by Joe Putnam, and they're going to be tossing out T-shirts. They're giving away free marketing posters of the team's schedule, and there's a lot of free stuff going on here. And the pizza's right here to my left, so I've been smelling it a lot. It's starting to get me hungry a little bit.
Well, we'll let you take care of that appetite, Zach. It's great to see you out there. It's great to see that basketball season is less than 2 weeks away. Appreciate your hard work as always, and thanks for being out there fighting the drizzle on a Wednesday at Shrews Slamma Jamma.
What's new, Brian? What's new?
No doubt about that. That's why we're inside again here at Lasch Building as we take a look at our Penn State Student Athletes of the Week, sponsored by MI Windows and Doors. From Penn State Field Hockey, Mackenzie Alessi, her team has a chance to win a share of the Big Ten regular season championship with a win against Rutgers coming up this week. And, of course, Sean Clifford, 4 touchdown passes in the win against Minnesota from Penn State football. Our MI Windows and Doors Penn State Student Athletes of the Week. It's a busy week for Penn State athletics, not just with the big football game here, but on the road you can watch Penn State on Big Ten Plus as the 16th ranked and unbeaten Penn State men's hockey team begins Big Ten play, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Men's soccer, Penn State at Michigan Sunday at 1, and then we're into the postseason with the Big Ten quarterfinals in women's soccer, 6th-seeded Penn State at 3rd-seeded Wisconsin on Sunday at 5 p.m. You can watch those on Big Ten Plus. Fans coming to the game, man, the crowd was great. I mean, great last week. Let's do it again this weekend. Happy Valley hospitality, so important. Show why we're the best fans in the country. Be respectful, be great fans, be responsible, and be gracious hosts to those folks coming in from out of town. As you come out to the game, reminder that parking lots will open at 6 a.m. and at 8 a.m. we begin with the Beaver Stadium block party. Not too early to have fun. Football, food, fun. You're going to love it. The Fox Big Noon kickoff set will be outside Gate B of the BJC. You can see all the great activities going on there, including Team Arrival at the South Tunnel of Beaver Stadium. So it will be the block party and Fox Big Noon kickoff again outside the Bryce Jordan Center, Gate B of the Bryce Jordan Center. Start Saturday strong. A couple Heisman winners on there. They'll be talking Penn State, Ohio State live on national TV. Your chance to be in the spotlight and show that Penn State pride to the fans watching all across the country. Speaking of showing Penn State pride, make sure you show up wearing the right color, not the white color. Students, that's the white color. Fans, if you're seated in those sections that are colored white on this graphic, wear white. If you're in blue, wear blue. It's the annual Penn State Stripe Out, noon on Saturday against Ohio State. And you can go to gopsusports.com or any of our social media channels to get a closer look at that graphic to make sure you're wearing the right color on game day. As the game concludes on Saturday against Ohio State, we'll have the Unrivaled postgame show for you live right here. Once again, immediate reaction from head coach James Franklin and from student athletes after the game, after what we hope is a big Penn State win. So that is the Unrivaled postgame show coming up after the game on Saturday. What a great show we had tonight. I can't wait. We just had the whiteout. Now Ohio State's coming to town for a stripe out at noon on Saturday. Back-to-back home games. Fans, we need you again this week. Be loud. Be proud. Be there early. Gates open early. Parking lots open early. Make a lot of noise and support that Penn State football team as they take on second-ranked Ohio State. 13th-ranked Penn State, second-ranked Ohio State. Another great show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments, the positive comments. We love to find out where you're watching from. We appreciate it so much. Great work by our entire crew tonight, including Destiny and Zach for checking in as well. Ross Woomer directing back in our broadcast studios. I'm Brian Tripp saying so long from the Lasch Building. Thanks for tuning in tonight here to the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. We'll talk to you next week.